everyone, welcome back to the Redbridge Independence podcast. My name is Bilal, and today I'm talking to Feza. Feza is a community champion and standing in the Cranbrook board. Really excited to be talking to her, finding out all about what she's doing, why she's standing for council, and what she's looking forward to. Hi Feza,
Hi, Bilal.
thank you for coming in today talking to me.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
We've had lots of conversations off camera, but today we're doing one talking about why you're standing for council and all the good things you're doing in Cranbrook. So for those who don't know you, maybe tell the team or tell everyone else who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. My name's Feza, as Bilal said. I have been a Redbridge resident for 36 years. I did all my schooling here. I'm a scientist by training, and that's what I work in. But I'm also involved in a little bit of political activism because I really do care about people and the community and everybody. I've been blessed with a lot of nice things, and I want to kind of like share in all that blessing. I am standing, I hope to stand as a councillor and be a community champion because I think we all need to work together and help those who need that extra bit of help.
Yeah.
We're in a situation where there's a lot of negative things going on, and I want to be a part of that change. I want to be that positive change in our community and wider than that.
Yeah, I think you said it very nicely about why you want to stand for council. But was there a specific time or moment that made you think, yeah, I want to do this?
Not a specific time. I think with a lot of things with me, it just kind of happened gradually. The more I spoke to people, the more it instilled in me the value, the appreciation of talking to people, their needs, and why I think I could be one of those people who works with other people to make things better. So it's been brewing slowly and gradually. So I think there was not a lightning moment. It's been happening slowly.
Yeah, I think a lot of things I'm hearing is that it's been in people's minds for a long time, but now it's come to the surface. So they're saying now it's the right time to do it. And I think Redbridge Independence is a good party to join because a change is gonna be here and we're gonna be part of that change. What's something people don't know about Cranbrook?
Something people don't know about Cranbrook is I'm going to be honest with you. I live in Redbridge, but not quite in the ward. But I have a lot of, I have contacts in Cranbrook. I know people here, and I pass through the drive and various parts of the ward a lot. What I found about Cranbrook is that, so there's a nice thing and a sad thing. The nice thing is that there are a lot of very pretty streets, lovely houses. When I've been knocking on doors, I must admit, appreciated the lovely front garden, the doors, the front of the houses. But the sad thing is that behind these pretty houses, there are people who feel like they haven't been listened to. And I think that's one of the things that made me think, what on surface seems lovely, but behind the scene, there is pain and sadness. And I want, people to feel like they're heard. And I think that's what I found. And I think that's what I want people to know, that, knock on the door, see what's beneath the surface.
I think like you, so I'm standing in Mayfield. It's really beautiful to speak to these people at the door and find out the stories they're facing every day. And I think people, like you said, they're facing a lot of things and they're really struggling. So I feel like it's nice for me, from my perspective, I can be a change for someone.
Yeah.
And that's a really beautiful thing, I think.
It is, definitely.
Let's say I come to Cranbrook tomorrow. What's one thing I have to do?
Oh gosh, I think, can I say two things?
Go on, go for it.
Okay, so the first thing is you should just quickly kind of like give yourself, 30 minutes and just let your feet take you wherever. Just walk around the streets. Just enjoy your scenery, the atmosphere, going to the very quiet streets that nobody has heard of. The second thing I would say is that just walk around some of the more built up places such as schools, sports ground, because there are loads of good people in Cranbrook who are trying to look after the needs of the community. Like when I go knocking on the door, I'm always surrounded by Friendford. Doesn't matter which streets I'm at, there's always a ground near me that belongs to Friendford. And it's lovely to see that all our youths being occupied by useful, constructive things, sports activities, and adults who are actually getting involved in activities that keep our youth engaged.
Yeah.
healthy.
I think Redbridge and youth is a very, very important topic.
Yeah.
I think Redbridge has closed youth centres across the whole borough
Yeah.
very, very quickly and very kind of without consultation. So I think that's really important. That it's something we tackle and something we are actively tackling.
Yeah.
Speaking of issues, which is something in Redbridge, youth is a big thing in Redbridge. What's one thing in particular that Cranbrook residents face?
I would say that there are a lot of issues. A lot of those issues seem to be under the umbrella term of antisocial behavior. So fly tipping, parking issues, people doing things on quiet roads, think that they shouldn't be doing. And it's worrying because apart from the fact that some of these issues can lead to distress, people feeling, unsafe. What people want is their neighborhood that's safe for people, both physically in the sense that they don't get mugged, they don't get run over by cars, the children are safe. And I think one other thing I would like to say is that apart from actual issues, people feel very unheard, and that's actually a very sad thing to come across. I feel people are talking. They're talking to a brick wall or into a vacuum. Nobody's hearing them. And I think that's what makes me think, I want to hear these people and actually do something about it.
Yeah, you're so right, because my nephew is a SEND child. I tell everyone this. 'Cause I'm so proud of him and I love him. But the issues he goes through on a daily basis with my sister, getting his appointments and getting his diagnosis is crazy. And the fact that the Redbridge Council has failed SEND families.
Yeah.
And if no one's going to stand up and do it, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to make a change. But that's really beautiful and that's really admirable as well from your perspective of why you wanted to come forward.
Yeah.
You're obviously talking to people on the doorstep every weekend or whenever you're out. What's one thing you've learned that you didn't expect to learn in Cranbrook?
Oh, I'm really glad you asked me that. I was a bit apprehensive when I first started, but I'm knocking on doors. I totally appreciate that people are not at home or they're busy, but so many people just open up. You think they're going to say to you, sorry, I don't have time. And they come out with we have a whole conversation, and I'm really grateful that people give me their time, and that has been really lovely. People have been really been open to me and sharing their issues with me, because if I don't know what the problem is, how am I going to help solve it? And that's it really. I mean, there are a lot of things, but that's the main thing. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's a good main thing to have.
Thank you to everybody in Cranbrook for opening your doors and actually opening your hearts to me.
No, that's really valid. So Noor Jahan and I, we've been going out every weekend since I think August or September.
Wow.
We were knocking on doors every single weekend. And you're right. I think people are so willing to talk.
Yeah.
And people are just fed up.
Yeah.
They've had 10 years of Labour, and Labour have been slashing budgets and ruining services. It's time for them to go. I think people notice that.
Can I just make a comment?
Please.
We hear the word fed up a lot. Fed up, you can tell people are frustrated. But one gentleman I spoke to, what really got to me was he was fed up. But as I talked to him, I felt I could see distress being written over his face. It was a very cold, rainy night. And I just wasn't expecting it. It actually got to me that this person, he just wants to have a peaceful life, and there were some parking issues. And I could actually just imagine the word distress on his face. And I think that what makes you think that, yep, I'm going to carry on, going knocking on doors, no matter how cold and windy it is. I mean, there have been a couple of days where it's been so rainy. I thought, okay, actually, maybe it's not a good day to go out. But I have been going out in very icy weather. My fingers have made it.
I've had to buy a new pair of gloves. It's been so cold, but we have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I always say I'm very different. I love canvassing and I love talking to people.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it. I love going out, whatever the weather, just talking to people. I love it. So you obviously have been in Cranbrook and you've experienced it. You've heard what people are saying. Taking all of that into consideration, what's the biggest thing you would like to change about Cranbrook?
I was thinking I could say a particular issue, but I think what we need to do is just get beneath the surface. It's not just about issues. What I would like to do is actually involve people more. I think a lot of people feel unheard, or they're views aren't taken into account, and sometimes they may not even know about it. So going on the doorstep, telling people about it and actually getting them involved, I think that's the key thing. So my answer isn't technical, the issue, it's more about the logistics. Get people involved and listen to them.
Yeah. Community is so important.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has been lost in Redbridge. But I don't know if you remember, but for me, when I grew up, we used to have like street parties, and we used to have so many community events. There's a big field right near my house called Knoxfield. We used to have like car boot sales and events on the weekends. That's been lost, and I think that's really sad.
Yeah.
I don't know about what Cranbrook ward has done, but that's really sad in my ward. That's something I'm really passionate about bringing back. Just that community spirit.
I think what you talk about community spirit, there have been a couple of people said to me that, there seems to be a lack of pride in the community. People don't seem to feel like they want to invest into their areas. So it's been very patchy. Some people, some houses, for example, you come across people care about the communities, and some houses look quite derelict. We all want all of us to feel like we're proud to be living in Cranbrook. People should come into the ward and think, yep, this is a place I'd like to move to. I want to go for like a nice walk, stroll in Cranbrook, and everybody to feel, I live in Cranbrook. I'm very proud of it. It's a lovely place to live in.
Yeah.
So yeah, pride.
I think one thing we talk about is community and kind of just a look at Redbridge as a whole. So every ward is obviously very specific, but what are the issues in Cranbrook that maybe the majority of Redbridge are facing as well?
I would say that, again, antisocial behavior, and again, it's a very umbrella term, parking issues, fly tipping. So when I hear other colleagues in other wards talking about these issues, I think, yep, I keep hearing it as well, street after street. Yeah, that's it.
I think fly tipping is a big thing.
It is.
Especially in Mayfield, it's everywhere. Yeah. It's so hard to contain.
It is. Saying that, if people have pride in this, in this street, their area, they would have that value that they wouldn't be going around fly tipping. Okay. So I don't fly tip because I don't want rubbish outside my house.
Yeah.
I live on a nice street. I wanted to keep it that way, and I know that other people want the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about pride as well. And the other thing is perhaps enforcement, because I understand that fly tipping is enforced. I think fines are enforced, but it may not be consistent or going further enough, because some people are still, talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear about a story in your ward. So have you had a conversation with someone that's really stayed with you?
There have been quite a few stories, but because I've been canvassing for quite a few weeks, I am thinking what I think I wouldn't say a particular story, but I think what stays with me is that some people are very friendly, nice, polite, tell me all type of things. You have a nice giggle as well. But I think when people look really upset, sometimes teary-eyed, and what I told you, that one person, I felt like had distress written on his face. I think the feeling, it's not the story, but the feeling, the emotions stay with me. And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Canvassing session after canvassing.
Yeah. It's just obviously hearing people's stories, sometimes it's very heartbreaking.
It is. And what I don't understand is these, the residents, they're not asking us to, solve, world peace or poverty. It's actually very simple things that is, I would say, relatively easy to do if we all work at it. And if the finances are, resources are put there, it can be done. It's not difficult.
Exactly.
But we just need to actually do that.
You're so right. It's the basic things that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
It's not like they're asking for Olympic Stadium.
Do you know what? Olympic Stadium, that's great. Do you know what analogy I was thinking about was that, for example, you're going, this happens to me quite a bit, but I'm just like walking and like a tiny pebble gets into my foot, into my shoe. And I think, gosh, you know what? Shall I just ignore it? But it's just there, like, hurting me as I'm walking.
Okay.
All I need to just undo my laces and take the pebble out. But it's a tiny pebble, but it's affecting my brain up here, thinking I cannot stand walking with this pebble in my shoe, a tiny pebble.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a good analogy.
No, it is. Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've been speaking to people on the doorstep, which is really a good thing. I think we want to be connecting with people on the doorstep. What's a misconception they have about the council or like local councillors that you've heard about?
I don't believe, well, from what I have heard, I don't think there are any misconceptions. I'd like to answer this in a different way. I believe that Cranbrook residents are very on the ball. They know that what the councillors are out to do. They get in touch. They ask for whatever issue to be resolved. But the issues aren't necessarily being resolved. So I don't think it's a misconception issue. I think they're just not being heard. Yeah. And that sadly leads to some of the residents thinking that everybody is the same. So I have to like sometimes talk about my character. Well, not a lot, but I say that, I will be doing something about it. I'm not going to promise the world, but I'm here to hear and try to resolve. So you have to kind of somehow differentiate yourself from everybody else, that you are going to be different, a change, and somebody who actually listens and does something about it.
It's not so simple, just listening.
Yeah, like the pebble, right?
Yeah, just
Tiny.
listening. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's something I hear a lot. Is like they will reach out to relevant people, but they're not listened to.
Yeah.
They have questions. They have things that need to be resolved, but they're not being listened to.
Exactly.
Like one father I spoke to has 2 SEND children, and they're having a lot of difficulties in school. And he's spoken to the council. He's reached out to various people, and he feels like he's just not being. He's being ignored. No one's able to help him. No one's listening to him. No one wants to help him. That's what it sounds like.
Yes,
and it's difficult. Imagine being in his situation.
Yeah.
Having to deal with that is very tricky.
Yeah.
And when no one's in your corner fighting for you, that's even worse, I think, in my opinion.
What's sad about that example is that what does he say about the society, about how it views SEND children?
Yeah.
So are some people better than others or more deserving of help? We're all equal. We all deserve our needs and requirements to be met.
I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Redbridge Council has failed SEND families. Look at the Ofsted report. 3 out of 5 needs urgent improvement. Terrible.
We live in one of the we live in one of the richest countries in the world, but talking to people, the news reports you hear, does it feel like it?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. Before we finish up, I want to ask you one question. What's your hope about the future for you as a potential councillor and for Cranbrook Ward?
Okay. So first of all, my hope is that I do get elected. My second hope is that we'll all come together and work as a team. I'm a big team player. And I want us and the residents to work together. So it's a collective effort for the change to happen for the better.
100%. And to finish up, I want to ask you one fun question.
Okay.
I call it. Can you describe Cranbrook in 3 words?
Oh, wow. Cranbrook. Pretty.
Yeah.
Oh dear, this is a tricky one. Friendly.
No.
I've had lovely people talk to me. Thirdly, oh gosh, I just need a moment. Oh gosh.
I think I'll give you an example. I think Mayfield in particular is very community led. I think people love to come together as a community and do things. And I think that's one thing I love about Mayfield.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what you said is good enough. Thank you for that.
I'm sure I'll come up with more as we work together.
Me.
Yeah,
text me.
Text me. A whole list.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you.
It was very nice talking to you, and we had a great conversation.
I
hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did.
And look forward to seeing you more on the doorsteps. seeing more of your work, seeing more of the pictures and your conversations. You're doing a great job. So keep it up.
Thank you, Bilal,
Very proud
and
of you.
all the best to you. Doing an amazing job, and thank you for helping me with my very first
Of
podcast.
course, I'm glad you did it. Yeah, I'm very proud of you. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening today. Very, very interesting conversation with Feza. We're looking forward to seeing more of her in Cranbrook. And if you want change, you know who to vote for.